Hello and welcome back to our youth devotionals. We're going to be continuing on with looking at who Jesus is. On the last video we learned a wee bit about Jesus' identity and him being God. This one's going to be a little bit different, and we'll find out sort of who Jesus would have been around whenever he was around. We're going to read from Mark chapter 2 verses 13 to 17 to start off with. Jesus went back again to the shores of Lake Galilee. A crowd came to him and he started teaching them. As he was walking around, he saw a tax collector, Levi, son of Alphaeus, we'll go with that, sitting in his office. Jesus said to him, "Follow me." Levi got up and followed him. Later, Jesus was having a meal in Levi's house. A large number of tax collectors and other outcasts were following Jesus, so many of them joined him and his disciples at the table. Some teachers of the law who were Pharisees said that Jesus was eating with the outcasts and the tax collectors, so they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with such people?" Jesus heard them and answered, "People who are well do not need a doctor, but only those who are sick. I have not come to call respectable people, but outcasts." And that's our reading from Mark chapter 2 verses 13 to 17. Right, let's go back 6 weeks, whenever lockdown wasn't happening. Okay, imagine you're sitting in the canteen in school. It's quite an awkward place sometimes. It can be a really welcoming place, and it may not be. Meals can be can be an opportunity to include people or exclude people. Meals can create barriers between people you might not want to talk to, or break down barriers by sitting down having a conversation. The people you sit with at lunchtime often tells onlookers who you accept and embrace. Meals in Jesus' day told a very similar type of story. The religious leaders often criticised Jesus for the people whom he ate with. Because of the culture, meals were a symbol of friendship and acceptance. And what surprised others was that Jesus ate with the people who were messed up, sinful, and seemed far from God. And it says in verse 16 and carries on to 17, when the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw Jesus eating with the sinners and the tax collectors, they asked his disciples, why does he eat with the tax collectors and sinners? But Jesus responds by saying, "I do not have to come for the righteous, but come for the sinners." Part of Jesus' identity was his reputation to be a friend of a sinner. If you imagine God's kingdom as a big party, everyone loves a good party, and the Pharisees are the ones who want to invite those who are sociably acceptable, the morally upright citizens, the people that whenever you look at, you're like, yes, they have their life all together and they don't do bad things. That's the people the Pharisees want to bring to this party, the people who appear to be very religious. Jesus, on the other hand, he wants to invite everyone. It doesn't matter what you've done or how badly you've messed up. You're invited to God's party through a relationship with him. There is room at his table for rebels and lawbreakers. There's room for everyone, which is a totally amazing thing to think about, that no matter what you've done bad in your life, that God has this a space for you in heaven, that no matter what, that God accepts you. This infuriates the Pharisees because they thought that holiness and moral purity or right behaviour, led to a relationship with God. But Jesus knew and acted like holiness or right living resulted from a relationship with God. So through your relationship with God, then you can see yourself becoming into a right living or holiness. You don't need to change before God can love you. But God loves you and He will change you, which is totally class as well. Through Jesus, God invites us to belong before we believe and even before we behave, because our invitation to God's party is not based on our goodness, it's based on His grace. Jesus' table is telling us a story about God's gracious acceptance of all different types of people. It's class because we can accept all different types of people. Now I have a question for you to think about. What type of people are sitting around your table?